Speaker, I rise to support this motion, and allow me to thank the Chair and the Budget and Appropriations Committee for consideration of this bill that came from the Senate. Honorable Speaker, this bill shares revenue that we have shared in the Division of Revenue Bill amongst our 47 counties. And if you look at the schedules, Honorable Speaker, out of the money that we divided between the two levels of government, the Senate has now gone further in line with the sharing formula that they are using, the current formula, shared the revenue in accordance, as I said, with the formula. And I was just looking at some of the top gainers, Honorable Speaker, of the top counties that are getting quite hefty amounts, like the city county of Nairobi, Kiambu County, where I come from. I see Mombasa County is also not doing so badly. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I pause and ask myself, if, for instance, the county government of Nairobi is getting 22 billion shillings from shareable revenue, are the people of Nairobi getting commensurate service to this 22 billion? If Mandera, for instance, is getting 12.5, or Kakamega at 14 billion, Honorable Speaker, are they getting commensurate service? My own county of Kiambu is getting 13.5 billion. It's among the top counties receiving the highest levels of revenue. But you need to go down to our counties and ask the people that we represent, because we also live in these counties. Are they getting commensurate service to the monies that these governors and our county governments are getting? And I know, Honorable Speaker, we are headed to an election year. And this is the second last CARA, or county allocation of revenue bill, that we are doing. When it becomes an act of parliament, it will be the second last. I know the Controller of Budget, the Auditor General are also doing their work. But our governors doing their work with the monies that is being allocated to them. And I dare say, Honorable Speaker, many of them are a big letdown. If you go to any part of this country, and I say any part, not Kiambu, not Nairobi, not Baringo, not Mombasa, ask the people there, which monies between NGCDF and the county government funds can you see on the ground? What tangible development can you see on the ground? I've been to some counties, people tell me the women reps are doing better with their meager amounts of money they get through GAF. And they are doing more impactful projects than governors who are running billions. Honorable Speaker, I have been around this country and I have listened to many people, whereas those in the opposition are out there shouting, oh, SHA is not working. And they're inciting the public out there on how much SHA is not working for them. Because the people, when they visit their local dispensaries, are not getting services. They can't get medicine in the hospitals. There are no healthcare workers in those hospitals, Honorable Speaker. I've listened to horror stories of healthcare workers telling me they are on their third month without pay in some of our counties. In my own county in Kiambu last year, healthcare workers down their tools for months. And the governor there felt nothing, had nothing, saw nothing bad, even as children died in hospitals. It took the Council of Governors intervention. And I remember sitting with the Council of Governors leadership in charge of the Health Committee. I sat with KMPDU and we prevailed on the Council of Governors to mediate between KMPDU and the county government of Kiambu to at least get health services working back in Kiambu. Last week I saw the member for Thika, Honorable Alice Nganga, storm into a hospital in Ruiru to rescue mothers, I think close to 20 mothers, who are being held in that hospital on account of pending bills or unpaid bills. Honorable Speaker, why are mothers being held against their will with their young babies, exposing them to danger and risks of even contracting infections in a hospital? And those of you who are parents know, children are very easy to pick up all manner of infections. So children are born, newborns, but they are being held in a hospital because the mothers have not been sorted on their bills. And I saw the naysayers asking, are they now telling us that SHA is not working? And that is why I've mentioned this issue, Honorable Speaker, because if there are people who have let down the people of Kenya, it is governors. If there are people who are sabotaging the working of SHA, is governors. Honorable Speaker, when we crafted the 4 health laws under the Social Health Insurance Authority, we had a facility improvement fund. These governors are getting money, or rather the hospitals are collecting money from the Social Health Authority on the facility improvement fund, but is that money going back to the facilities? Governors are picking this money from the facilities and they go and buy, like in my county, they buy chicks, buy a packet of unga, buy a packet of 3 kg packet of fertilizer, giveaways that are politically expedient. Some are here branding milk in their names with their photos. But this is the money you are collecting out of the facility improvement fund, instead of taking that money back to the facility to be able to improve the facility, because that was the intent of that law. We developed the facility improvement fund to make sure that a dispensary in Ruiru does not have to wait for money to come from Kiambu. Or Mbagathi Hospital does not need to wait for City Hall to send money to them. They should have the money at that local level, so that if there are bandages that have run out of the facility, or Panadols, paracetamols, they simply procure at the local level, and there are guidelines in the regulations up to what amounts you can procure at the local level. And we made sure that there were regulations that have been done pursuant to that facility improvement fund, Honorable Speaker. Look at the procurement. In our last estimates this year, we have just allocated to KEMSA 21 billion shillings. To make sure that KEMSA is adequately capitalized for these county governments and all other hospitals to be able to procure medicine from KEMSA. Are counties procuring and paying? Talk to KEMSA. They don't. Do they have money? Have they collected money from the Social Health Authority? Yes, they have. Are they offering health care services to the people of Kenya? They are not. And therefore, when people cry and say, SHA is not working for me because first I visit a hospital, the primary health care fund, and I wish Dr. Nyikal was here, but the chair budget is here. He will tell you the primary health care fund now has 19.1 billion shillings. For what purpose, Honorable Speaker? Why are we allocating from our national revenues 19.1 billion shillings to county to primary health care facilities? So that, Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Article 43 of our Constitution, any Kenyan who falls sick in any part of the country can visit a primary health care facility, a dispensary, a level 1, level 2, level 3 facility, get treated, and so long as that facility is SHA enlisted, and the patient is also enlisted in SHA and has paid his premiums, you get free treatment, and you don't need to pay anything. But why I say governors are letting us down in the county governments, they never inform the public. They do not want the public to know. They do not want the public to know that the government has allocated 19 billion shillings to pay health care for them, because they also want to steal from the same public by charging them again. Honorable Speaker, this is the most evil thing any human being can do to another. When you take your child who has high fever at night to your local dispensary, and you are being told without 700 shillings for consultation, then another 900 shillings for drugs that are not even available, you are being told to go and buy outside the hospital in a pharmacy that belongs to the pharmacist. or to the county executive or the chief officer in charge of healthcare. We are doing very unjust things to our people, Honorable Speaker. Then the same people go and tell the people out there, oh, SHA is not working. It is not SHA that is not working. It is your theft that we can't satisfy. It is their greed we can't satisfy, Honorable Speaker. If we allocate 19 billion shillings to the primary healthcare fund, that money must go to ensure that the people of Kenya access healthcare at the primary level without payment. And it is not just in public hospitals, Honorable Speaker, even in private hospitals that are SHA enlisted. And it is good we tell the people of Kenya that so long as you are enlisted and registered with SHA, and the hospital that you visit is also enlisted, so first make sure you are registered, you have paid your premiums in SHA, then the hospital that you visit is SHA enlisted. You should get care for primary care without payment, because we have provided for that. And when we did the Primary Health Care Act, Honorable Speaker, you remember, we said that it would be compulsory for us as a house that represents people in our constituencies, in our counties, to allocate money to the Primary Health Care Fund. We have done that as members of the National Assembly. We must now ask our senators. It is not enough to just call governors to the Public Accounts Committee in Senate and harass them at the gate, chasing them, I don't know to do what with them, and throwing punches. That is not the work of any senator. It's actually unbecoming for any senator to be chasing a governor on the road there, like, let me... Whether you are senator for Nairobi or for Kwale or for wherever or for Kiambu, your work is to oversight and make sure that the primary health care fund monies are being utilized to treat people in your county for free, especially in those county hospitals. Make sure that the facility improvement fund is being utilized to improve the facilities down at the local level, Honorable Speaker. Because the facility improvement fund is for all those county hospitals, Honorable Speaker. We have allocated money, shareable revenue here, which is being shared. More money is going for healthcare under the Facility Improvement Fund. More money is going under the Primary Healthcare Fund, and the reimbursements they get, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, the people of Kenya should not be crying about healthcare, Honorable Speaker. If I had my way, Honorable Speaker, and I know I speak for very many Kenyans, very many, and I know Senior Counsel Otiende Omolo and Karoli Omondi would not agree with me. I will not do away with the governors. I would take back the healthcare function back to the national government, at least from level 2, 3, and 4, all the way to 5. If only I had my Honorable Speaker. And I know many Kenyans associate with those sentiments. In fact, I am surprised even my brother Karoli Omondi is saying he has said it before. Because we are all agreed. I see Honorable Otiende Omolo maybe may also be supporting me on that. But whether or not Honorable Otiende Omolo, Karoli Omondi, or any other member supports me.
Dr. Otiende Omolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have listened, as I usually do, very carefully to the Leader of Majority, as he's spewing a lot of wisdom, much of which I agree with, but there are 2 points to be made, Mr. Speaker, and I rise under Standing Order number 87. But before I do that, if you allow me, is to tell the Honorable Leader of Majority that the point he makes is not even a point of recommending an amendment to the Constitution. I am on record as saying that a careful scrutiny of the Constitution leads to the conclusion that when the decision was made to devolve health in its generality, it was the mistake. Because the schedule, the kind of health facilities that are covered by the county is not health generally. It is only certain health facilities that previously were run under the local government. department and not everything generally. So I would actually agree with you that that mistake was made several years ago. And if it is sought to be corrected, I would not be the one standing on the path of correction. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, and I agree again with the Leader of Majority that the CDF, NGAF does a lot that is visible. And many counties do not do a lot that is visible. But however, for our own benefit, Mr. Speaker, I want to invite you to this without inviting you to rule immediately. That we carefully look at Standing Order 87. And Standing Order 87, in terms of the discussion of conduct of any head of government. And the first question would be, is a governor considered a head of government at the county? And if that is so, then we must refrain from use of certain adverse terminologies without a substantive motion. That is number one. Number two is in reference to the senators. Now, I have no idea who's running after who and for whatever purposes, and there are people who might know this better than me as I look at them, but all I want to say is that let us also again refrain from that, because it says for any person whose removal would be subject to a process in Parliament, then again you cannot discuss them without a substantive motion. So that goes to governors by way either of being head of government or by way of the fact that their impeachment is subject to us, and that goes to the senators. Just so that they do not also get an opportunity to discuss as carelessly as sometimes they do in Senate proceedings. I urge, Mr. Speaker, that when you retire, you will consider that without interrupting the Leader of Majority. Thank you.
No doubt, point taken. The Honorable Dr. Otiende Amolo. The Honorable Majority Leader will...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me thank Dr. Amolo first for spring great wisdom on the question of the healthcare functions. And I pointed to Dr. Amolo because I know he was actively involved in the writing of this new constitution. And therefore, when you hear a senior counsel inform us that indeed the drafters of this constitution never intended healthcare to be devolved in the manner in which we devolved. And that is why Kenyans are crying, Honorable Speaker. But too, Honorable Speaker, as much as Dr. Amolo says, Tienda is saying he's not calling you to make a ruling on that, he knows he's being a lawyer now. Now that is a senior counsel speaking. And he knows I am not a lawyer, but I am also not very daft. And therefore, he knows that I was speaking generalities. I have not spoken about a particular governor. I have not spoken about a particular senator. And therefore, I cannot be discussing anybody in particular. And I am very much aware of the provisions of Standing Order 87. And that is why I carefully chose my words. Even as I spoke about senators who are chasing, the people of Kenya know which senators, so I don't need to, and they saw them. When I speak about governors who are distributing chicks, a packet of unga, a packet, half a kg of sugar, they know them. When I speak about governors who are branding milk, Kenyans out there know them. So we are not discussing a particular governor, we are discussing the bad conduct of governors and telling governors without apologies, you must be accountable to the people of Kenya. You must be accountable not just to this shareable revenue that is being distributed here through Kara, but also the money coming to you, whether it is through the additional county allocations, which we just did here. Honorable Speaker, you know we have conditional allocations like the 8.6 billion that we allocated for universal health care workers to make them permanent and pensionable staff. We must inform the people of Kenya. Because if we do not tell the people of Kenya from this space that there is money that has been given to universal healthcare workers to convert them to permanent and pensionable, governors out there will go and start pointing fingers at the national government and at Parliament. And that is why Parliament stays vilified by everybody because they imagine it is us who have not done our work. We must tell the people of Kenya that we have done our work. We have given money for universal health care workers, and Dr. Nyikal is here, he knows the 8.6 billion. We must tell the people of Kenya there is an additional 19.1 billion shillings for the primary health care fund, so that when a governor who is seeking to place cheap politics tells the people of Kenya, oh, SHA is not working here, at times they even slow down, I'm told, the activation of SHA in their hospitals so that people do not claim from SHA. Then later they enlist them and they go and claim the money. But they never inform the patient. We must call them out, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, because I see my time is much gone, let me say I support this county allocation of revenue bill. And when it becomes an act of parliament, I do expect that all governors in Kenya without exception will and must be accountable to the people of Kenya in relation not just to this money, but also the additional county allocations and the other monies that are going to our county governments, Honorable Speaker. My county, Kiambu, the people are crying. They have not seen a single road in the last 4 years or 3 years done by the county government. Why? Because the county governments are using the money for roads to buy chicks, to buy a packet of unga, half a kg of milk and what? Honorable Speaker, you know, Carol.
Yeah, give the majority leader 2 minutes to conclude.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Karoli Omondi on a light note is asking me which chicks. Chicken. Day-old chicks. Not the other chicks Honorable Karoli Omondi is imagining. The people of Kiambu are given day-old chicks, 5-day-old chicks. But as they collect the day-old chicks, which I have nothing against, they must know that there is also more money allocated for rehabilitation and maintenance of their roads that is not being done. They must know that there is 19 billion shillings that is available for the primary health care fund, that when they walk into Lusegeti healthcare, which we are building as a national government, upgrading it to a level 4 hospital, that hospital, when you go there, being a level 4 hospital, or a level 3 hospital at Zambezi, or at Kino, or at Gikambura health centers, you should access healthcare services free of charge so long as you are SHA enlisted and those facilities, because I know, I made sure they were all enlisted. People must not be charged, but they are being charged and the governors are still claiming this is the money. Then they come and try and attempt to bribe the people of Kenya for political expediency. I want to tell the people of Kenya, those who bribe you with your own money for your drugs, for your healthcare facilities, when the time comes, deal with them as you ought to deal with them. But for us, before Honorable Tiendo Ombolo stood on a point of order, I was saying our Senate must hold our governors to account. They must hold them to account. And that is why the Senate and the Public Accounts Committee in the Senate must be beyond reproach, Honorable Speaker, so that they hold these governors to account for all these monies that is going to the counties. With that, Honorable Speaker, thank you and I support.
Honorable Gitonga Murugara. Honorable members, this is a very short bill.
Thank you very much.
What has been said by the majority leader, I think we should be expediting so that we take the matter to the committee.
Absolutely. We are in total agreement, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this is a very short bill. The Senate has done its work.